So today I'm going to be showing how we can create a fire without the shelf tools. So the first thing we'll do is drop a geonode, and in the geonode we want to create an object which will create a sphere and switch that to polygon mode. Next we're going to place a Pyro solver node to connect to the sphere. We want to initialize, once we have it set, we're going to initialize source fuel and source smoke to create those attributes. Next, we'll place a volume rasterization attribute node. In this attribute, we need to define what attribute we want to be created, which in this case will be fuel temperature. The last thing that we'll create is a null node, and we're going to rename it out fuel. Now that that's done, we can turn that off because it's not going to be rendered. Now we'll drop a DOP network node, and this will do the calculations for how to create fire. So we'll start with a gravity node, so the fire acts like it does on Earth. After that, we'll place a Pyro solver to actually do the calculations for the fire. Now we'll place our smoke object that will hold our fire and all of the attributes that we'll define later, and then a volume source that will tell the Pyro solver what to set on fire. We'll connect them, and then under SOP path we will choose our out fuel node so that the Pyro solver knows what it's catching on fire. And then I'm just adjusting the bounding box so the fire has a bit more room to travel. Now this doesn't really look like a fire right now, so we're gonna do a little bit more to fix that in our viewer port. I'm just adjusting the box a bit more. I think the fire needs a little bit more space. It seems a little cramped. Now we'll go to our multi-view, and we want to change the density to be mapped to the field density, and then our emission will be mapped to temperature, so we'll write that there. And I'm gonna change the scale to 10 for now. Then the color will be based on heat. And if I play it back, we get a very big fire. Very aggressive. So I'm just going to adjust the bounding box a bit. It still needs a little bit more space. I could probably also, make it smaller by changing the emission scale, which I'll do here. Not really much of a difference. I'll also adjust some other things such as buoyancy, just to tweak our fire and make it look a little bit better. You can also turn on the range here. It looks decent. It's a fire. Looks like the bounding box is a little messed up. It's kind of in the corner there, so I'm just adjusting it again. That way it's, kind of more in the center and doesn't get cut off on the side. I'm also going to change the color a little bit. I think there's a little bit too much white. So I'm just adjusting that. That looks good. So now we're done with that. I want to place another geonode. We can turn that off as well. So we'll place the geo node. And well, this time I need a name. I'll name it import. And then inside the node, I will drop a DOP import field node. It's going to import some fields from a dynamic network. So we'll choose our DOP network, the one that we created. And I'm blind. It's right there. And then for the DOP node, we'll choose our smoke object. And we need to specify how we want our data to be converted back to SOPs. So we will choose right about there. We're going to choose Pyro data. And now we can see our fire. And here I'm just looking at all the attributes that are being put into our import node, and that's how we're seeing our fire. And then lastly, this is not what we want to see. We want to see a fire, the color of a fire. So we're going to go to materials and we're going to choose flame and put it into our materials. And then we'll go back to our object node, our object level, and then on import we want to have import selected. We'll click render, and under materials we'll pick the flame that we just created, and I don't see it. Should be there. That's right there. Flames. So we'll choose flames. And now when we render, this should look more like a fire. So that is it. Thank you for watching.